How's it going, everybody? We have spoken a lot of this interview over the past couple of weeks, and we're very excited to share it with you. I do have to add a little editor's note. I screwed the pooch on the microphone situation, so you're going to have to bear with us because that one, something happened to the audio. It was corrupted or something. You're working with an amateur, so sorry about that in advance, but we still have the video and we still have the interview and you still get the experience. So honestly, you shouldn't be complaining. Anyhow, as you can see, we have Kilean with us today, and she was amazing. She shared a lot of insight into her and how she became such a badass TikTok creator. So without further ado, enjoy. Our very special guest, we have Kilean, better known on TikTok as Kilean H, or like the baddest ex-Mormon out there, because honestly, she's just doesn't care about anybody's opinion except for her own.
I love that.
So that's really awesome. So thank you, Kilean, for coming on today and joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. We have set up a couple questions here. We will feel free to wander on other topics that maybe are pertinent, but obviously I'm going to keep it... I'm
going to try to go sequentially.
Yeah,
but
sequentially.
It's so hard. I am too.
So it's hard to like stay in order, so we will try, but by all means this might jump around and that's fine too.
Yeah. Do we want to start with the first question?
Okay.
What do you have down?
So I want to go like sequentially, so we get kind of a full picture, if you will. So let's start with childhood, your upbringing, where you lived, what was it like, were your parents Mormon? Kind of give us a lowdown on your childhood.
Okay, I grew up in California, in the Central Valley, right in the middle, in a pretty small little farm town. It was small Mormon community, 2 little wards, 2 high schools. That was about it. I had a great childhood. I have happy memories of being a kid and being Mormon. I don't remember not liking it. I had fun. I was pretty wrapped up in extracurricular activities and lots of sports and other things, so I don't feel like my whole rollerblading, yes, definitely a lot of like blading in my front yard to, music to pretend I was going to be a ice skater at some point. But no, my childhood didn't, while it definitely felt very Mormon, I had so much other stuff going on that I don't feel like that was the core of my childhood. Like I had a lot of other things going on too, and because there weren't a lot of kids that were my age that were Mormon, most of my friends weren't, and so I feel like I kind of got the best of both worlds when it comes to being Mormon as a kid growing up. So really happy memories as a child. Yeah.
I think for a lot of people who grew up Mormon in the North America, that sounds like it's kind of a common thread, because of course I'm a white heterosexual cisgendered male.
There's that.
Honestly, I was not going to have very many problems growing up in the church, but I feel like you did too when you were
for the most part, as a child.
As a child, yeah, like going to primary or whatever.
Yeah.
Sounds like
it was a very social, I was there for the social aspect, and I had fun. So
yeah.
Were your parents so I don't even know how you scale this. Like, how Mormon was your upbringing? Were you like the type of family that did a family home evening every Monday night? You went to church every Sunday? You went on vacation? Like, where do you fall in that scale?
Yes, very active, especially, both my parents were very active, even though my dad no longer is a member. But both my parents were very active, very Mormon. We did church every Sunday. My dad taught seminary, and we were required to go all through high school. And then my mom even had us do like a family scripture study every single day at breakfast before school.
Wow.
So after seminary, before school, family scripture study, even if it was short, that was just there was 4 of us kids and we were so busy, so many sports going everywhere. Mm-hmm. That was the only time we were all home to have scripture study. So she squeezed that in every single day before school. So wow. Yeah, we were required. We went to Mutual and girls camp and church every Sunday. Very, very active. Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I'm assuming your parents were members their whole life, or were they converts?
My dad was a convert. He joined, I want to hear his story again. I haven't asked him in a long time. He joined when he was a young adult.
Oh, wow.
My mom has been Mormon, very Mormon family her whole life.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That kind of paints a picture because...
It does.
Like, Jordan's dad was never a Mormon, and her mom was from a very young age, although they kind of had their inactivity curve.
Periods, yeah.
Yeah. But my family is all very active, like on both, well, not my mom's side, but my parents.
It's just interesting how it like
still.
trickles down.
Yeah.
It's interesting how it all kind of gets mapped out. Okay, so you had like the standard, essentially Mormon childhood youth experience, right?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
So there was never a time like in your childhood, like let's say like under 12 per se, where Mormonism just didn't sit right with you or something felt off? It was just kind of the thing you did and you just rolled with it?
Yeah, I never really questioned it as a child. There were things I didn't like I didn't like the modesty part of it. It really bothered me. I couldn't wear whatever I wanted. And there were other things that like rubbed me the wrong way and I didn't love. I never liked fasting, things like that as a kid, but it never felt like this isn't true. It felt more like, well, that's what the rule is, and if you don't like it, like that's a bummer, but I also don't want to go to school and I have to go to school. Like some things you just have to do. Yeah. So it felt more like that.
Okay.
Yeah, like I never thought of it any other way other than this is what I have to do.
Right. So yeah. Were you like the good teenager, or did you have a rebellious phase?
Oh, no. Well, maybe you should check with my parents, but I never did anything wrong as a kid. Like, I remember the one time I lied to my parents.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I remember it. Yeah.
Wow.
The one time I lied. I had friends that weren't Mormon, but we never did anything. Like, I was a good kid. Like, I never did anything rebellious. I never went to parties or drank or anything like that. But I remember the one time I lied, and it was to hang out with one of my friends who I played soccer with, who was just a good friend of mine. But she was very masculine looking, just the way she dressed, and it terrified my mom. My mom was so scared that this girl was going to be a bad influence and, like, turn me gay. Joke's on you, Mom. I'm dating a woman now. But... But at the time, like, yeah, this was just one of my friends, and I thought it was so terrible that my mom did not want me to hang out with this person because she thought they might be gay. And I think we, like, went to get ice cream or something after a soccer game. Like, it was something so silly, and I lied to my parents about who I was going with because I thought it was so dumb that I wasn't allowed to go hang out with my friend because they thought she might be gay.
Oh my gosh.
So that was like the one time I lied. It's not even anything bad. Mm-hmm. I stand by that lie.
I was going to say, that's justified in my book.
Yeah, seriously. And did they end up finding out after the fact, or did you
If they did, they didn't say anything. No, if my parents ever watch this, they're going to find out my lie. They might have already known and just didn't say anything. I don't know.
Okay,
but no, it never came to anything. And I'm sure I got in trouble for other things. I just don't remember, like, outright lying to go anywhere outside of that time.
Yeah, because that would be the honor thy mother and thy father kind of thing.
Yeah. But I never needed to. I was never doing anything that my parents didn't want me to do.
Okay, yeah, because that's kind of interesting, because when I was really young, up through my junior year, or the end of my sophomore year of high school, my brothers and my whole family, it was like the joke to call me Nephi, because I was like of the brothers, I was Nephi, and my twin brothers were Laman and Lemuel, even though they were just fighting between each other all the time. They weren't doing anything bad. So
obviously that doesn't apply anymore.
Yeah. But then as soon as my junior year hit, I was like lying and like being a delinquent and like all these things. Never really like going out and drinking or smoking or anything of that nature. Just like being a shit, like a teenager is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what was, just for the sake of transparency?
Oh, I was terrible. I was a terrible teenager. I was awful. I was rebellious. I was rebellious just to be rebellious. Like that was just
for the
my
sake
thing.
of it.
Yeah. I just wanted, like, if my mom told me no, I was going to go do it. So that's just kind of how I lived. Okay, so you mentioned you had, like, non-Mormon friends. So if you grew up in, like, this smaller community, was it predominantly Mormon or was it predominantly not?
It was not. There was 2 wards and 2 high schools. So between the 2 wards and 2 high schools, the number of people that were my age in my ward going to my school, I mean, there was like maybe 2 people. It wasn't a lot. So there's really no way for my parents to have said, like, you can only hang out with Mormon friends.
Right.
Where are they? Like, there's not enough. So none of my friends were Mormon, but they just were all really good kids. So
yeah,
mostly non-Mormon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think growing up outside of Utah, that's a common thing because none of the people that we grew up in Colorado, and none of the people that I grew up with were around like other Mormons really or anything like that. But I think they did kind of encourage us, hang out with, if they liked somebody, if they liked somebody, hang out with that person more. I can't remember them ever telling me not to hang out with a particular person, but
yeah.
Anyhow,
okay. So we're like standard Mormon golden child up to this point, which is fabulous. So
I guess.
So you graduate high school, go on to college. Tell us what happens as you journey into being 18 and
okay. Yeah, I graduated and I had to choose between BYU, Idaho. I didn't have to choose between these. I just didn't apply to a lot of places and I didn't have the best GPA, which is why I was, a shoo-in for BYU, Idaho. And then a local community college where I would have been able to play soccer. And for whatever reason, I chose to go to BYU, Idaho. I don't know why to this day I made that choice. I wish I didn't do it. But I did, and I had fun at BYU, Idaho. It just was cold and so weird. That place is just, and I remember them kind of, the narrative around BYU, Idaho, I think to combat the idea that, like, the people without the good GPAs go there, the narrative was more like, well, the spirit's just different here. Like, the spirit's different at BYU, Idaho. It was almost like their way of, like, you guys aren't as smart, but, like, you have a sweeter spirit and you're more righteous.
No.
And it was really gross. I did not like...
It's terrible.
I did not like that.
Oh gosh, that's the worst.
Yeah, that's...
It was odd.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. And that's kind of the vibe that I got. And I would, if anybody was like, oh, you go to BYU, I was like, I go to BYU, Idaho. I don't want you to get this, like, different idea about who I am. Like,
I owned it. I owned it. I didn't have the GPA for BYU. I didn't even apply. I knew I wouldn't get it.
Oh, I didn't either. But I was really encouraged to go. So you didn't have any sort of, like, pressure or, like, if you go to BYU, Idaho, will pay?
I think there's just, like, an underlying pressure being in the church to go to a BYU school, whether your parents put that on you or not. But I don't remember ever feeling that from my parents. I think if I were to ask my dad, he would have even wished I went to the local school. He would have loved that. And I wish I did too. I think it would have been way more fun.
Yeah.
And I would have been able to play on an actual team instead of intramural sports.
Yeah, no kidding. So
seriously.
Did you play soccer in high school and that was kind of your thinking of going to college for that? Okay.
And you said that you did early morning seminary as well?
Yes.
Okay.
We lived right around the corner from the church, so we would walk to seminary dark in the morning. And my dad taught for a couple of years, which was actually really fun. He was a really fun teacher. But yeah, 4 years of early morning seminary.
Walking over to the church building. And did you graduate too?
I think so. I'm pretty sure I did. I can't remember. I don't remember if I...
It's kind of silly. And I feel bad for all the kids that go to seminary here, and it's like an actual class. Whereas early morning seminary people, we would just show up, and if you were in attendance, you would graduate.
It counts.
Like, yeah, whereas it's a class for
You're in
else.
Pajamas. You're eating donuts.
Yep.
It's not too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's early in the morning. And
it's so early.
Yeah, and
it's awful.
I remember my freshman year, I was like so on it, and it was Book of Mormon. So I did all the scripture masteries for that year, like early before the end of the year, and was like super studious, and I loved my teacher at that point. But the other years,
okay, Nephi.
I know, right? That was when I was at the height of Nephi, and but the years after that, it didn't matter. I wish I would have paid more attention in Doctrine and Covenants, because I probably would have left sooner, but
oh, no kidding.
So I'm curious, were your parents like stereotypical gender norms as far as Mormons go? So that was kind of like the expectation you saw growing up?
Yeah, definitely. That was pretty normal in most families that I saw. There's not really an example of that in Mormon culture from what I've seen, and it's not really openly talked about. In fact, you're encouraged to go to school and get an education in case your husband dies.
Right.
That's what in case he dies.
Your fire insurance, obviously.
You need to be able to pay for your life.
Right.
So yeah, that was what I was taught kind of growing up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you get.
Kind of makes you think if they've never heard of life insurance.
Fire insurance,
right.
Life insurance, yeah. So they were like encouraging of you going to higher education, going to college, going to BYU. That was encouraged.
Yeah, they were supportive of me.
Okay.
Definitely. My parents have been supportive of most of my educational choices, including when I decided to drop out of college. My mom was like, yeah, don't go if you don't want to go. Like, they've been pretty supportive of most of my life, which has been really, really nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so give us the lowdown of your experience at BYU, Idaho.
Oh my God. I feel like we could do a whole day on this.
Give us
that
some
place
highlights.
is whack. Okay, so I moved into the dorms, and from what I've heard with friends that lived off campus, it's not like this everywhere, but this is where I was. I was in the dorms on campus, non-cooking dorms. If you wanted to eat, you had to go to the school galley, and you get like a pass to go eat. And the dorms are set up with doors all facing into a courtyard, a door to get in, and once you're in, you are inside. At curfew, that door locks. You can go out if you want to, but the door is locked. You cannot get back in without notifying somebody that you are out past curfew. So you are quite literally locked in after curfew. So it was wild. We lived...
What time was curfew?
I believe it was midnight.
Okay.
And then I think on Friday and Saturday it was 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
But the opposite gender has to be out of your room
by 10.
an hour prior to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though you don't have to be home.
Totally
so it actually created
that.
this really weird dynamic of, okay, we have an hour or two if it's Friday where I don't have to be home yet, but I can't go to your place and you can't come to my place. And it's negative 12 degrees and nothing is open. So
yeah.
What do you want to do?
What do you want to do? Do you have a car and enough gas to run the heater for a while?
Exactly. Yeah, it was really, really weird rules. And then I know everybody has talked a lot about, like, when you are in the opposite gender's dorm, there's like a threshold to the hallway where you are not allowed to go past. You can hang out in the front room. The chastity line, yeah. The windows, the blinds need to be not just open, but like up. And feet have to be on the ground. Like you can't be laying on a couch with.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, these are the rules in the dorms.
Oh my god.
In addition to the curfew, they also did random bed checks where the RA would come around to your apartment unannounced and check your actual bed to make sure people were in their beds. They didn't do it every night. They just like did it randomly. But
so they just like
it
come
was
in
weird.
your room and are like, "Hey, you're in your bed. Cool."
Yeah, they check your bed to make sure you're in. It was wild. So we had a lot of fun. We lived right by the door, which went to the trash room. So you go like you'd have a roommate like, "Can you go take out the trash?" And they'd go haul the fake trash bag, throw it away, and while they were in there, you would hide a little like soda cap in the door. So the door would close but not latch so that you could sneak back in if you were out past curfew.
Oh my god.
These are things I did as a grown-ass woman in college. And these are like curfew rules I didn't even have at home. Like my Mormon parents were not this strict.
Oh, wow.
So I went to college and had more restrictions over what I could do with my time than I did at home.
Oh my god.
It was so weird.
That's insane. Because I had a curfew, and then I didn't live on campus, so as soon as like curfew was up, I didn't care. I would go do whatever.
Yeah.
This is just I'm
It's
not a BYU attendee at any point, so listening to all this is just so bizarre to me. Like, this is just...
so we had to do all kinds of weird things just to do. I remember one time we wanted to go see the midnight showing of Harry Potter, and we had to try to get permission to go out of town, because you have to get permission to go out of town.
What?
To go sneak out and see a Harry Potter movie as an adult woman.
Oh my god.
Did not, like, it turned into this whole thing where we had to lie about where we were. Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You had to get
So I got
permission
in
to
trouble
go out
for
of town?
Yeah. Yes.
That's
So I got in trouble for
insane.
that. And then another time I got on academic probation for... I got invited to this game night. This is such a stupid story. I got invited to this game night with a group of friends that I didn't even normally hang out with. Some of them were from my dorm, but they weren't like my normal group of friends. So I went and I showed up, and it was inside of a church building in the mother's room. And I don't know if either of you have been in the mother's room at the church in BYU in Rexburg.
Oh,
no.
But it's huge. It was a bigger, and I'm used to like a tiny room with like one or two little rocking chairs and maybe a changing table.
Yeah.
This was a long room with a full circle of chairs. Like, oh my God, there was probably 20 chairs in that room.
What the?
And
serious?
there was a bunch of kids. Well, not kids. We were adults, but we were treated like children.
Yeah.
We were playing just games in there. No one was drinking. There were no drugs. We were not doing anything bad. We were just like playing fun games in the nursing room, and two cops walk in.
Oh no.
So of course everybody just like freezes, and I'm there with this guy that I don't even really know very well, but we decide to just like
Sashay off.
we dip out the door
Oh.
and we run out the building back to campus and like sprint all the way back to our apartment, like to my dorm. I go back in, sneak in, go to bed. I get a letter
Of course it's
later telling me I am on academic probation for breaking the honor code. Somebody in that room snitched on us and gave them our names. I still don't know who. If you're watching this, I will never forgive you. We're done.
Wow.
And I had to write a letter to the dean to get back into good graces so that I could attend the next semester.
What did you have to
Apologizing.
say?
Oh my God, I don't even remember. I'm so sorry. I've repented for...
Oh
I
my
don't even know what I
gosh.
did wrong at this point. Being out past curfew. I have no idea. These are things I got in trouble for as an adult. Oh my God.
We talk about BYU to people who aren't Mormon, and they're like, this is insane. Like, this, I mean, so is Mormonism, but this is just bonkers. Like, this can't happen. And I'm like, no, this stuff is totally true.
Totally
It's real.
And it's funny because varies wildly from my experience at BYU Idaho because I lived off campus. I had one friend who lived on campus, and from what I can gather, it wasn't quite that extreme when they were there. But still, like...
This is like micromanaging to an extreme. Like, you're just going to create
Yeah.
a rebellious nature by micromanaging people this much.
Yeah.
Yikes. Okay.
Yeah.
So how was your, like, academic experience? Did you feel like you got a decent experience academically from BYU?
I had fun while I was there. When I transferred to a different school, after year 2, I was done. It was honestly just too cold for me. I did not like the weather. I started to get super depressed. It was not a good spot for me to be. So I transferred home, and transferring home, realizing how many credits I was losing, just my religion credits alone.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't want them anywhere else.
No,
They're
they
not
don't.
anything. So that alone was like, God, what a waste of time. Like, what? that was a big hit. Like, I really feel like I wasted a lot of my time there.
Yeah.
That was a bummer. But I had fun. I really did. I don't remember feeling during the time that I was wasting my time. Like, I remember kind of enjoying my religion classes and my American history or American heritage class, which, looking back on that, I realized how none of that was
pretty
an
whitewashed.
education at all.
Of course.
Oh, it was a class about how Christian all of the founding
dear
fathers
God.
were.
Yeah.
Really?
And now I'm like, okay, but like none of that was true.
Yeah,
So,
and even if they were Christian, they were kind of shitty ones.
Yeah, even still.
So...
Okay, so you're at BYUI. How is your religious, spiritual self at this point? Are you still feeling, I mean, because BYU is an experience, did that have any bearing on your religious, spiritual self?
No.
Okay.
I was too wrapped up in the social part. I was having too much fun. I still was not quite, I don't think, mature enough to think about religion past this is what I have to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is the true religion. Whether you like it or not, that's what it is. And I just kind of left it at that. There were things that really bothered me. I hated the honor code. And I did get my patriarchal blessing while I was at BYU Idaho. And I remember being so underwhelmed.
Really?
Yeah, I was expecting some like great thing. It'd been talked up my whole life. Like, it's this really deeply personal blessing that you get that's supposed to guide you through your life. And oh my God, it was so boring. It was not personal. It just was like, wah, wah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I wish I still had it so I could read it back, but it was boring. But I had some good times. I think my funniest takeaway that I ever learned from a bishop was, I remember our bishop talking to our ward and just cautioning us about like how you hang out with the opposite gender. And just remember that a back massage in the front room leads to a front massage in the back room.
God.
Oh my God.
So that was like our favorite thing to quote
He said
forever. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that's my favorite takeaway from BYU Idaho.
I've heard that too. The thing is, I don't think they ever will move away from that kind of rhetoric, because that, I swear to God, that was what we would get every single Sunday as well, especially if the bishop was in there giving the lesson in like priesthood or whatever. So.
Oh my gosh. That's just, okay.
Yikes.
Okay.
Well, congratulations. You've made it out of BYU Idaho. You lost a shit ton of credits transferring.
Yes, I did.
Did you end up going on and getting your degree at the local?
Where did you
No,
go?
I transferred to a local school that was about an hour away from my hometown. And I was there for a while in the art program, but I wanted to start doing weddings, photographing weddings. So I kind of just started doing that, and I did that for a long time. And I didn't really need a degree to do that. So I stopped going to school. My parents were both super supportive. It was expensive to go to school, and I didn't need a degree for what I wanted to do. So
yeah,
I kind of just quit, and I'm super glad I did. I will probably never go back. I hate school a lot. I do not like it. And I have no plans to return to finish my degree.
Yeah. No, and that's totally, we're not like, wow, Kilean didn't go and get a degree. I think we're going to end this right now. Goodbye. And especially with, goodbye. Especially with a skill like that, like, you know, if you don't
you learn by doing,
why would you waste your money in doing that? And your work speaks for itself if people want you to be their photographer. So
for sure.
So that's awesome.
Nobody ever asked me. Yeah,
we stand that, honestly.
So how old were you when you started focusing on photography?
I was probably, I think I was about 21, because it was about the time when I got married, around that time. I don't know the exact age, but probably about that time.
That was what I was going to ask you. Were you feeling the typical Mormon woman pressure at this point? Oh my God, I'm 21 and I'm not married yet? Or were you more chill on that?
No, I mean, I got married pretty young. Was I 20 or 21? I think I was 21, or I was about to be 21, like weeks away, which I felt was very young. There was that pressure. I never liked that pressure. Even when I got married, I felt like it was too young.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Even when I was engaged and it was like, wait, I do not feel ready. So I did feel the pressure, but I didn't feel like it was right. Like it's too young. It's too young.
Okay. So it wasn't like this like impending thing for you where you're like, oh my gosh, like my existence is in question kind of thing. Okay.
No.
Are you okay with talking about how you met your ex-husband?
Oh yeah. Yes. Okay. So I moved back here. And I was going to school at the university, and I spent a lot of time at the Institute building, which is where I met my soon-to-be husband. He was home from his mission. He had injured himself playing soccer on a P-Day.
Oh my gosh.
So he had to come home and get surgery. So I met him in this in-between time where he was waiting to get surgery, and then he had to get clearance from his physical therapist before he could go back and finish his mission. So I met him in between. We dated a little bit. He went back to finish. He had 9 months left, and we wrote a little bit while he was finishing, and I dated a bit while he was back on his mission. And then when he came home, we started dating again. We dated for about 6 months, got engaged, and then 6 months later we got married.
Wow, okay. So typical Mormon timeline.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty quick timeline.
And I still felt like that was pushed. It was like, no, let's wait 6 months. That's a long time. Yeah, let's wait 6 months.
Okay.
Because for Mormons, that's like, okay, that's a long time.
Yeah.
So we got married about a year after he got back.
Okay.
After writing for like 9 months and a little
9
bit
months
before
gotcha.
that.
So when you were dating, like when you're writing him a little bit and dating it around, did you have him in the back of your head? You were like, okay, I kind of want this to pan out, but you were just kind of
dating
casting out your nets to see what you could catch or whatever.
I know I've told him this before. He's going to watch this back and be like, I know. But his letters were so goddamn boring. I'm sorry. They were so like spiritual, which he's super fun. So when you hang out with him, it's like a lot of fun. And then when we started writing, it was like, was this to me or was this to your mom? Because this could like literally be to anyone. To the point where when I would get a letter from him, I would like not even be excited because there was no romance, no nothing. So I kind of just, honestly, I got bored and I started dating other people. He was in the back of my mind as like, okay, when he gets back, I definitely want to see where this goes. But you need to spice up these letters a little bit because like I'm super bored.
Okay, that is funny.
That is funny. And I don't want to ask too much, but did he serve a foreign mission or did he serve
He served a Spanish-speaking mission in Ogden, Utah.
Oh man.
Wow.
Okay. I was like, maybe there was like some stuff going on.
Some really good stories.
But okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Maybe
no, he just was like a lot of missionaries, they just like get in it. They are so in it that like that's the only thing that matters. And he, I think, felt like he would have been cheating on his mission if he were to, like, express any emotion toward a woman while serving the Lord.
No, that's
right.
So.
That's kind of the vibe that I got. So my mission letters to my girlfriend at the time were probably extremely boring. So
yeah, huge yawn.
Did you reconnect as soon as he came back, or was it a little bit longer?
No, right when he got back. Yeah,
Okay.
We started dating again, and
did you have the typical Mormon woman knowing, right? I knew he was the one for me type feeling, or did you like do the traditional Mormon process of like taking it to the temple and seeing if you got a good feeling about it?
I never took it to the temple. That's a really hard question to answer because it's hard for me to go back into like the brain of my 19-year-old self.
Sure, for sure.
Especially in the context of how much pressure is put on you to get married. I mean, from the time you're 12, you start getting lessons on marriage. Mm-hmm. As a little girl, I mean, there's youth group lessons with wedding dresses. I remember making lists in church of like ideal qualities in your future husband. Yep. And guess what the top 2 are? Return missionary, worthy priesthood holder.
Yep. Top
right
2,
at the
right
top.
There.
And those ideas are so romanticized and so blown up that they leave little room for other feelings to exist and like other personality traits. Those take the back seat. And so
maybe
especially
even, like,
if you're
flags, you know?
Yeah, you would not feel those because you're so conditioned to be attracted to these qualities like a return missionary and a worthy priesthood holder that really have no bearing on whether or not you're a good fit or even mature enough emotionally to be in any kind of relationship. So those just take up so much space, especially if you're coming out of a relationship where maybe the person you were with didn't have those, or maybe you came from a family where a parent didn't have those. And you meet this person that has those things that you have been romanticizing since you were 12. Those look so attractive.
Yes.
It's
absolutely.
Impossible to ignore how much weight that will pull. And a lot of times the guy will come home from his mission like, you can't have sex until you get married. Like, really? That's not going to play into how quick you want to get married? It's going to.
Absolutely.
And you're gonna overlook really important factors because those things are so big. So I don't remember my mindset really. I don't remember having a feeling like this is the one person for me. I don't necessarily believe in soulmates or anything like that. But we had a really good friendship connection. We got along super well. We had a ton of fun together. And yeah, that was good enough for me. I had to get married. You're supposed to get married. Yeah. It's your divine role as a woman. And everything I had been told and everything I'm seeing around me with my friends and family is this is what you're supposed to do. Don't put it off.
Mm-hmm. Right,
so
exactly.
You kind of just do it. I don't know. You just do it. I don't ever feel like I had the opportunity to not get married.
Right.
Nobody forced me. But there wasn't that example. It's not talked about. It's not encouraged to wait. Like, you're encouraged to do it early, fast, and young.
Right.
Yeah.
So naturally, your next step is temple marriage, right? So you guys got married in the temple.
Yeah. If you meet somebody and there's nothing saying you shouldn't, why would you wait? Like, we got along great. We had so much fun together. What's the point of waiting?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the mentality. I feel like that's the traditional Mormon mentality. I mean, what are you waiting for, really?
Yeah,
and then add in the sexual repression into that. And just...
Yeah, no kidding. You can't do it until you're married. Well, what do you think is going to happen?
I know, right?
Yeah.
And then
you're going to move that
the
date
added promise of damnation if you break the law of chastity. So
yes,
but
no pressure.
Seriously. But before, or I guess, when did you receive your endowment? Was that before he came home?
No, it was, I think I did it either the week before or the week of. I think just really close to my wedding ceremony.
Okay. So you didn't
right
have
before.
that added like weirdness like years before. It was like
right before.
No, it was right before. Yeah.
Okay. Are you comfortable talking about that experience and what that was like for you?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
The endowment, I remember my dad, we took marriage prep classes. Oh my God. I forgot about the marriage prep.
Institute?
Yes, we took marriage prep together, and that was just a joke. I mean, we would just leave that class and just make fun of it so hard. It does not prepare you for a temple wedding. It doesn't. Nothing about the actual temple ceremony is talked about in temple prep. It was this older couple. This is going to sound made up, and it's not. It was this older couple. The man could not remember my name. In fact, we had to tell him before our ceremony, like, this is how you pronounce it. It's Kilean. Please don't say my name wrong at my wedding. You've been saying it wrong for... But anyway, it's this older couple. He would teach the lesson every time. His wife would sit off to the side, and after the class was over, she would pass out whatever she baked. I don't remember her speaking. Maybe she did, but I don't have a memory of it. And he would just tell these weird stories that were supposed to, like, I don't know what they were supposed to do, honestly. But some of his advice included, hey, ladies, like, when your husband gets home, make sure you're not in the same clothes you were in when he left. And make sure you have, like, your hair and makeup done when he gets home. Luckily, both of us were like, oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh.
No. First of all, no. Second of all, both of us work. Like, what? Okay.
Did it sound like that M. Russell Ballard quote where he's like, ladies, put a little lipstick on. It's not
it
that
was
hard.
Absolutely inspired by that. It was very odd. And I remember this other story specifically because we made fun of this one a ton. He told this story about how it was from the perspective of his wife. So I still to this day don't know why she didn't just tell the story, but whatever.
Of course.
Oh my gosh.
He was robbed at gunpoint, I believe, at his job. And he got home. He didn't tell her. He waited till dinner was done. The house was quiet. Everybody was asleep. They were in bed. And then he told her what happened that day. And she was so grateful that he did not bother her with that throughout the day because that would have been so stressful for her that he waited until the end of the day when everything was calm to tell her. And that was just so beautiful. And both of us were like, if you ever get robbed at gunpoint and don't call me like during,
right then,
you're dead to me. You just like end it.
Oh my gosh.
Don't come home.
Well, that's why I'm thinking, like, you just leave out that minor detail of your day like it's nothing.
Yeah, because, like, you don't want to stress your poor little wife out. She wouldn't be able to handle it. I wouldn't make it through the day.
The gentler sex couldn't handle the news until later that day. Oh, my gosh.
Oh,
yeah.
Dear.
And that was just... Yeah,
That's
so that
special.
was our temple prep experience. Did not prepare me for marriage. But my dad did his best. He kind of told me... It's a little odd, but, like, just imagine if you were to, like, walk up to a graduation ceremony with no context. It would feel really weird. Like, okay. And I'd heard whisperings of... You grow up... I don't know if you guys did, but I heard, like, whisperings. There was rumors of, like, you guys, the temple's, like, super weird. But you can't imagine what super weird is.
No.
Like, if you're just to imagine... I don't have any way of imagining that.
No.
So you
that
would
was,
never arrive at that.
Well, in any context that you would have surrounding what could be in the temple, I mean, they're nothing. Like
nothing. No idea. So he kind of gave me a little clue that, like, the outfits were weird. And he also said, if at any point you change your mind, like, do not get married, which I appreciate my dad telling me that. But that's kind of all I had going in. And it was weird. I don't know how else to color it other than it was weird. I remember specifically, I will always probably have this feeling like burned in my brain of having to be in the prayer circle and veiling my face, and just the feeling of being inside my veil, just like, oh my God, this is so weird. And before I could even finish the thought, immediately feeling guilty for having that thought inside the temple, which had been built up my entire life to be the most sacred experience I will ever have on earth.
Oh, yeah.
And I still remember that feeling. Just like,
I had that too, because it's like they hype this like nobody's business, and then you get there, and I remember feeling guilty for being like, this is it? Like, this is what we're doing? Like, this is the most sacred experience we can have on this earth? Like, what?
Yeah.
Instant guilt, but you can't take back a thought once you have it. It happens before you can even filter it. So
honestly. Do you feel like at all you like maybe overlooked things because of the context? Like you were getting married in like a week. You were like, okay, this is weird, but I have to do this because I'm getting married and this is part of it.
Yeah, I didn't think I had another choice. So it almost didn't matter whether I thought it was weird or not. And I'd also been told my whole life that, like, if you don't understand it, it's because you haven't gone enough. And the more you go, the more God will open it up and you'll understand more every time you go. So it's really important that if you don't get it and you do feel weird, you have to keep going so that you can understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so much at one time that my only memory besides being under the veil is me trying to remember my new name. That is all I remember because I got Eunice. Eunice was my new name. I had no idea I was going to get that name. And this lady tells you your new name and then sends you into this next room to start the ceremony, tells you never to forget it. But nobody ever told me like, hey babe, if you do forget it,
it's
no
fine.
Stress.
Yeah.
People do it all the time. No one tells you that. So I just remember feeling panicked. I don't remember listening to anything else. Just in my head, the entire ceremony, not my wedding ceremony, the endowment ceremony. Just like, oh my God, Eunice. Like I just was trying to remember this name. I can't write it down. I forgot it for a minute and I just remember flipping out in my head, just like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Like, what am I supposed to do? And you're just sitting there in the front row.
Yep.
Sweating balls.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and then, nobody tells you if you had forgotten it that somebody will tell you.
Yeah.
Nobody tells you that.
At the beginning of the ceremony, they can be like, oh, if you forgot the new name, you don't want to stand up and be in front of everybody. You forgot your new name. And in the front of the room, dressed like a toilet paper queen. Like, I'm not getting out of my seat. No way.
No, that's how I felt. That's how I felt.
Yeah. I remember I was going through the temple 2 weeks before I left for my mission, and I feel like I overlooked so much of the weirdness just because it was what I had to do to go on my mission. So
the anxiety of it, you weren't even focused on it.
Yeah. So and like my entire family was there, so any sort of odd thought that I had, I mean, it just so happened that our local temple was closed. And we had to come out here to Utah, so like way more of my family was there than it normally would have happened to be. So it was like the rationalization that, well, my whole family doesn't think this is odd. Why would I? Why would I be thinking it's odd?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm the crazy one. No, for sure. And then you go into the third room, the celestial room, and the way they do it. I don't know if they did this for you guys, but the first time you go through to take your endowment out, they had me go through last so that when I went into the celestial room, all of my family was waiting there for me. So you get pulled into this room and your whole family is just like there to hug you and they're all so proud. And it's just like, okay.
Awkward.
So this interview ended up being nearly 2 hours long. And just to break it up a little bit, I wanted to do 2 parts. That way you weren't watching one behemoth of an interview in one shot. So thank you very much to Kilean. We will have the other one up this Saturday, so if you're not, it won't be a long wait. I already have everything rendered and I already have everything edited out and doing the best that I can to get it all up. So thank you for your patience, and thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe to us if you're not already subscribed. Go follow us on Instagram and TikTok. TikTok is our major platform. You can find us at Jordan and McKay. Same thing for our Instagram. You can find those linked in bio. Check out our Teespring store. That is also linked in the description. And, of course, go check out Kilean H on TikTok. We'll link her in the description as well. She does a lot of amazing content for Exmormons and things like that. Just hilarious and all around a good time. So go check her out if you haven't yet. She's only on TikTok. So if this is what makes you download the app, so be it. But thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.